And we are live. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake, and today I am here on the Opus channel with you. We're going to be talking about AI productivity for content creators. We're going to get into a little bit of Agent Opus for you, and we're going to answer any and all of your questions. And we are live here on YouTube on the Opus Clip channel. We are here on X, and we are on LinkedIn Live. My co-host and friend Andrew Can won't be able to join us today. He's feeling a little under the weather, so everybody, thoughts and prayers for Andrew. Hope you're feeling better soon, guy. Wish you were here, but in the meantime, I am here, and I am happy to answer any and all of your questions. Today is Saturday, March 28th. It is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have a lot of updates from YouTube, interestingly enough. So YouTube, has a lot of recent updates. If you guys didn't know, when it came to the updates for YouTube Shopping affiliate now allows you to earn money at only 500 subscribers now. So if you're in the first tier of YouTube monetization, then you actually get that. So this is a huge benefit and value, and a lot of people underestimate how much money you can actually make with YouTube Shopping affiliate. So big opportunity there, and shout out to YouTube for that rollout. YouTube has also rolled out their new creator partnerships, merging a lot of features from what was once called YouTube Brand Connect. So again, I can answer a few questions about that, but the main thing is we can talk about how AI can save you all time. I know a lot of people lately are very negative about AI, especially generative AI. I don't feel that way at all. I was around when every innovation you can think of was criticized negatively. Everything from digital cameras to Photoshop was demonized as killing the soul and art and craft of creativity 20 years ago. Now it's all nonsense, and there are plenty of people, most people under 30, they don't even believe that that actually happened when it really did, but they just don't believe it because these tools are all normal and accepted, and it's all they've ever known and ever used. AI will be the same way for a lot of people. A lot of you watching this stream right now, you use AI besides just Opus in your everyday life, and the main thing that gets you back is time and productivity. So that's the big key factor. It's one of the reasons I actually have been an Opus Clip user, and I've been an Opus Clip partner for years since the beginning, is the sheer amount of time. Take money aside. Money's no object. Let's just pretend money's no object. Time. You can't get back any of your time that you use on any of these tasks that you're doing. Why would you hold a stance that makes something 10 times more difficult than it needs to be, and the result's not any better, you're not getting it any sooner? Why would you just volunteer and opt into that? If you don't look at that and say, okay, well then that must mean you don't care about valuing your time. It's not just about whether you enjoy doing the task. Even if you enjoy doing the task, there are other things you're not doing. When you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else, right? So for those of you in the audience who are parents or you're in a relationship, if a task is taking longer than it needs to, it means you're spending less time with the people you actually care about. So doing the thing and saying, well, it makes me more human, it actually doesn't. It just means that you're giving your human time to the task instead of to other human beings. So that doesn't necessarily make you more human if you're just putting yourself in the place of a machine, whereas a machine cannot necessarily be in the place of you in another human being's life. The task can be and deserves to be done in many cases by a machine. A task is not deserving of human attention on its own. So I would say you do human things with other humans and you let machines do work with machines. And that would probably be wildly practical. So I'll give you a primary example. If you can do better hooks and ideation and script writing using Claude, then for a lot of you, that will buy you back a lot of your time. In fact, in the chat right now, for those of you who are live, and we have a couple of people live today, I would love for those of you who are watching live to tell me how long it takes you to write scripts and outlines for your videos and how much time that is taking up for you. What I've heard from most content creators is on average, writing their script and outlines usually takes them between 2 to 5 hours. That's 2 to 5 hours they're not spending on editing, not spending on thumbnails, not spending interacting with their community. You know, so that's it's incredibly time consuming to do the scripts and outlines. So we have Monique Joyner, and she says, yes, I can schedule a month of shorts, 3x a day to YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok in 6 hours. Yes, I also upload 20 original shorts. Yeah, no, that's amazing. Shout out to you. Like, that's incredible. But that's like massive productivity gains right then and there. Opus is a great example of how you can get back 10, 20 hours a week just off of doing that alone. Same thing if you were to use something like Agent Opus and you were to generate some type of B-roll that you wanted to use, you would generate what you want, have it in 5 minutes instead of spending the next 30 to 40 minutes hunting down something in Storyblocks. I love Storyblocks, but let's be real. Do you want to hunt down B-roll to only be disappointed when you can just generate the B-roll that you want? So that'd be another practical use. Let's see. George says, afternoon, thank you for this live stream, informative into the most effective ways of modern content creation. Yeah. So like with modern content creation, look, just because you use an AI assistant tool doesn't necessarily mean you're less authentic. It's just really a way of not punishing yourself with a struggle session to get to the finish line of your ideas. If we're being honest, I don't think it's any more inauthentic than hiring somebody, whether you hire someone local or overseas, or you had a volunteer from your community who's like, yeah, I don't even want money. I don't want to be paid. Because again, everyone just keeps using a lot of these things to justify doing and making something harder than it needs to be. Oh, well, if we do it with these tools, then it takes away somebody's job. So what? It sounds bad, but so what? Think about it like this. How many times have some of you hired a freelancer and then not gotten what you wanted? So what's so bad about displacing someone who wasn't going to give you what you want? Why do you need to go through the painful process of working with 3, 4, 5 people just to get to one person you actually like working with, who does a good job, that delivers? Why is it that you need to burn money and take money out of your pocket, take money away from your family to go through any number of people you could work with that aren't going to work out or are not going to deliver or might even outright be a scam? What's the justification for that versus if there's a software or a solution or a service of some kind and you're getting pretty close to what you want? You're getting 80, 90% of what you want. You're getting it immediately. You're getting it fast, and you don't have to have the anxiety, and you're getting that the first time. Why would you choose the alternative path just because it benefits someone else at your expense? That just shifts the theoretical idea of downside onto you and burdens you with, okay, I'm going to be the person who's going to be exploited in this situation instead of the idea that I'm, taking away an opportunity. You're not obligated to give somebody an opportunity to get your work done, especially if you have no guarantee that you're going to be able to monetize that work. It's just not practical. So I think for the working class creator, I think there's no reason to resist the productivity of the AI tools for the working class creator that already has a limited budget, limited resources, limited experience in hiring a human being, that's great if you actually know how to hire human beings. The majority of people have never been in a position to hire a human being. They don't know how to vet a human being. They don't know how to manage a human being. They don't know how to train a human being. Most people are not in that position. Most people are solo content creators for that reason. It's not just the budget. It's that they don't have the experience of working with people, hiring with people, putting people in a position to win. They don't know what being a good boss would look like for them. So a lot of people are solo creators, but being a solo creator means that they can't scale. They can't do things efficiently. Things get out late. A lot of these tools in AI, whether it's Opus Clip or whether you're using Claude for your scripting, whether you're using 1 of 10 for your thumbnail generation or Nano Banana, whatever you're doing, if it's saving you time on a task that you're already not great at, and it's saving you the problem, not even from a money standpoint, but even just the problem of you wouldn't even know how to find talent, how to pay them even if you were willing to, and how to manage and lead them to get the results that you want, at that point, you might as well use a tool that's already available that has less risk for you, will keep you motivated to keep doing the work, and can provide a satisfactory result. And then as for the audience as to whether they'll reject it or not, well, that's up to them. You could do completely 110% human work, and the audience could still reject it, still criticize you, still be mean on the internet. Yeah, if you can save time, it can be placed in other ventures and it can be put back into people. Monique says, exactly, I'm saving on my business, same as my book narration. I can't tell you how many narrators gave me crappy work, lazy work, or disappeared. Yeah, ghosting is a real thing. Look, and I'm the strongest advocate for freelancers. I was a freelancer for many, many years. I was a freelancer longer than most people have been on YouTube. I've hired over 100 freelancers in my lifetime. I'm turning 42 this year. I've been at this for a very long time. I was making content on the internet before YouTube came out in 2005. I was an adult when YouTube came out. I wasn't a kid anymore. I mean, I was young. I was in my 20s, but I was already an adult. Yeah, I was already working a job. I was already beginning my career. So for me, I never grew up with YouTube in the conventional sense of it being there when I was a teenager. I was already an adult in my 20s. YouTube is 21 years old now, and I'm turning 42. So YouTube's been around half my life. But I lived life as an adult before YouTube and before modern YouTube that we know today. I've been an OG creator for a long time, you know? And what I can tell you in that lifetime of experience and hiring and doing things is, yeah, sometimes you burn through a lot of crappy work, budget, people are unreliable, people ghost you. It happens. So a lot of people learn to rely on themselves and software, but there's upper limits to that. Now with AI and tools like Opus Clip and Agent Opus, you have the ability to supplement not only some of your weaknesses and skills, but even things that aren't a weakness where you just, I need more of my time back, you can get it. George says, was wondering, what would you say about social media algorithms being related to limiting the amount of views generated content can gain? Well, if your primary platforms are YouTube and TikTok, that's not happening. I'll be honest with you. It's not happening on YouTube. It's just a matter of how people approach AI and whether they approach it in a thoughtful way or a lazy way. There are plenty of people using AI for majority of the content that are succeeding on YouTube. One of my favorite examples is a channel from Caleb Hammer. He's doing a channel called Front Page, where he's doing basically docuseries and news. And you could do a lot with this. Let's see. Like the narration is his voice, but it's with AI. So it's probably, and I can show you here, it's probably 11 labs or something to that degree that he's using. So if we go here, if you look here, this is Caleb Hammer's new channel. It's called Front Page. It's a new channel for him. And it says 135 videos, but that's shorts mostly of his, probably clipped with Opus, to be honest. but he's actually only done a handful of long form. He's been doing one of these a week now, so he's up to about 20 of these. And so the thumbnails, these are AI generated thumbnails. The scripts written by AI. The voice narration is an AI version of his voice. And look at the views. People aren't rejecting these on views. And if it was getting bad retention, it wouldn't keep getting exposure. So these have great viewership on them. I watch it when he puts them out, and it's getting traction, and it's converting subscribers who want to watch it. So this is AI generated content, and Caleb Hammer's all about money. So his whole thing, his whole shtick is being all about money. So YouTube is allowing you to monetize this, and it's not limiting the reach. Caleb Hammer got almost 100,000 views in 7 days on a channel that doesn't even have his name in the channel, doesn't have his face in the channel, doesn't have his face in the thumbnails. He's doing a completely faceless, mostly AI generated YouTube channel with long form, now posting multiple videos a week and is getting views. So any argument that that the social media platforms, again, the only one that really matters is YouTube for the most part, right? So YouTube's not throttling or limiting the reach or amount of views that AI generated content can gain. And this is far from being AI slop. And clearly by the views and the returning viewers, it's clearly not. So this is something that people have a desire to watch, and it is being able to be turnkey content, as I would call it. It's evergreen turnkey content that's also still topical and relevant, and it's working. And almost every single part of this is AI. The thumbnails, AI generated. The script, largely AI generated. The voiceover, AI generated. The editing is likely very heavily utilizing AI as well. A lot of the footage is, some of it's real footage, some of it's not. So, I would probably say that for the video editing, and I can't 100% confirm this, but it's probably using AI footage plus maybe it's using DaVinci or CapCut, probably CapCut, knowing them. So, I mean, if you look at this thing, what they did for Corona, this is clearly like AI generated for that. So I would say that if you really look at it for what it is, and you don't listen to the rhetoric on X or TikTok or from a lot of, frankly, out of touch YouTubers, it's very clear that YouTube will allow the monetization of AI content when it's not done in a lazy way, when it's thoughtful, when it produces quality content, when it doesn't pretend to be something that it's not. Then it's fine, and YouTube will allow it to get reach. YouTube will allow it to get monetization, or Caleb Hammer wouldn't bother, and it can work. And again, as loud as a lot of people on X and TikTok are screaming about AI slop, a lot of people don't reject something just because it's AI. They care about whether it's good. Humans have been making slop for hundreds of years, okay? So that's what I would probably say about that. And again, Caleb Hammer, I think, is a good example because he's the money guy. He is absolutely the money guy. So George says, thanks, I see now. So there's no problems with monetization as such when generating any content. As long as you do it within YouTube's rules and you do it thoughtfully and it's not hyper repetitive and it's not AI slop and it's not something that is fake news, then sure. So we have Trisha, we have the Tisha, the artist Haven. Question: what is the best way to use Opus Clip for a channel that doesn't have a lot of dialogue? Should I upload clips I want, or is there a prompt that can help? So I'd need to know more about what you're trying to do in terms of something that doesn't have dialogue. If you're clipping long form or live streams, then that's pretty straightforward. But I would need much, much more context on what you were trying to do, rather than being able to say that, or that you could prompt. But something you can prompt with Agent Opus is basically, you guys could use Agent Opus and you could prompt B-roll that you want or motion graphic scenes that you want for a part of a video. You say you want to show the process. Show the process of what? Because if you want to show the process of something you're doing and you're doing art, then it doesn't help you as much unless you're taking a section of that process. So I need to understand more of what exactly the full context of what you're trying to do is. It may not be something that works for just a YouTube comment in chat, but yeah, I would need much, much more context on that to be remotely helpful in any way. Excuse me. So yeah. In terms of a overall thing though, in terms of AI workflows, what would AI workflows look like? So you have the ideation process. If you don't already have an idea for your content and what to make, then you need kind of inspiration or you need some guidance on here's what a popular idea is. Maybe I'd care about that. So first of all, a lot of you need to know what it is you're making and who you're making stuff for in the first place. For a lot of you, you should use either Claude or ChatGPT or Grok to figure out and have it debate you so that you can just finally lock in your creator identity. Because a lot of you, the big reason, I don't know what to make, I don't know what my videos should be, that's an issue of what your identity is. Because if you know who you are, who you want your audience to be, what you want your mission to be, if you had that figured out, then making content would be easy. I'll give you a primary example. When I first started making content in a committed way and a serious way on YouTube, in fact, I'll probably just pull my channel. I can just pull my oldest videos and I can just show you instead of telling you. If we go to my YouTube channel and then I sort my videos by my oldest content, let's just go sort by oldest. Okay. So like my oldest content, was about graphic design and photography and video. It was about basically all the things I was doing as a freelancer. So we look at my oldest videos, and this is when YouTube was very different. Aside from the occasional random video, like I have this video from 15 years ago when I was living in New York, of breakdancers in the subway just because it was cool, was my content back in the day. Well, I was a freelancer, and I myself was featured in magazines like Photoshop Creative and Advanced Photoshop. And so I was showing off my own digital work because I was a published digital artist and I was showing off my art and photography skills. I was also a freelance photographer. I had my own business card. And so I also was using the Sony HD Webby back in the day. It was a very popular early flip camera. And I was talking about things that I had familiarity with. I was showing you the process for artwork that I'd gotten published before with light spiral effects or something, beauty retouching. I was talking about typography. I was showcasing new Photoshop features. I had a video, I wouldn't say, this one didn't even grow like my channel as much as you would think it is, but it's like everybody cared about this. I kept doing rehashes of this later in terms of masking and removing people from backgrounds, tutorials, how-to and tech reviews of camera gear became my thing. I upgraded from my Sony to a Nikon D3200, a popular entry-level DSLR style camera at the time. So like when that happens and you're doing like early content in the beginning of your YouTube channel, it's basically, well, what's your identity? My identity was I was a freelancer. I was a photographer. I was a graphic designer. I was working at these jobs for a living. And so this is what I was showcasing on my channel. So I was talking about things I knew, things I was actively doing and believed in, and what was working for me and what my results were. So I was talking about things I knew. I was sharing also things I believed and what I was doing. Guess what? What you know, what you believe, and what you're actively doing All of those things are rooted in your identity. So most of you, your problem as a content creator begins and ends with not understanding your actual identity as a person, let alone as a content creator. And then your audience doesn't understand that either. So in the early days, I was a freelancer, and therefore I was making tutorials that would help you get the same skills that provide me a living. People are like, well, why would you enable your competition? I was mostly local. This is 15 and 12 years ago. If you were a freelancer, it meant you were local, which means it doesn't matter if some kid in the UK watches my tutorials or some kid in Idaho watches my tutorials, because I was competing for business in the tri-state area of where I lived, which at the time was North Carolina most of the time. And then if I got someone from the internet to be a client overseas or across the country or across the globe, it was because of my videos on the internet. So it was also helping my client services business back in the day. It even got me the beginnings of my speaking career and also my writing career. I ended up writing for publications about photography, video, and graphic design. I wrote for print magazine. I ended up writing for Adobe's blog. Those were paid gigs. I wrote for How Design with FW Media. They owned How Design owned FW Media. Sorry, FW Media owned How Design. They owned the How Design brand conference, and they owned print magazine. And I was published in the digital and print versions of those publications. I wrote for Adobe's blog. Those blogs are still up. I wrote for creativepro.com. I wrote for a magazine that was owned by a camera rental company at the time. So that camera rental company ended up going out of business. And by that, I meant they were acquired by their competitor and rebranded under the competitor's label. So I was doing that stuff. So I was making headway. So again, my channel initially focused on, here's all the software I know. Here's all the skills that I have. Well, let me make videos about that. As for this, I got questions from people about my YouTube setup, so I made a couple of videos about it. You'll notice none of these were about how to grow on YouTube. They were all practical things. Lighting, microphones, software, backdrops, and then how the monetization work, because people asked me about those things because my channel was doing those things well enough. I think I had 20,000 subscribers at the time, which was more back then than it would be today, but still a big deal today. 97% of people don't have 10,000 subscribers. My Premiere Pro video editing tutorial. How are you editing these videos, Roberto? And how do we color grade like you? Oh, I'll show you how to do that. Hey, how's the Nikon do with this lens in low light? Okay, well, let me show you. So what cameras do people use? Okay, so I just made videos, like I said, about 3 things. Here are things I know, and what I know could include my skills, my software, my industry experience and background. Here are things I believe. So what do I believe about getting a career? What do I believe about logo design or graphic design in general? What do I believe about the industry? What's my point of view? It's not just advice, it's my point of view. And people actually decided they liked hearing a different point of view. Many of you watch my stuff here on the Opus channel, YouTube, and so on and so forth, because not just you want my expertise, you want my specific point of view, you want my opinions. And interjecting my opinions and personality into my content actually is what made me more confident, more successful, because that helps with you reconciling your creator identity. If you're afraid to give your opinions and your honest beliefs about things, it will hold you back as a content creator in terms of what you're making. My thumbnails weren't even anything special. Well, but back then, clickbait wasn't as big of a deal 12 years ago. But you know, this thumbnail style wouldn't necessarily work exactly this way today, but authentic thumbnails are coming back on YouTube. But you can see that YouTube was a different era where less polished thumbnails could get more views than regular thumbnails. And for anything that's faceless or a tutorial, showing the software and the result was kind of the key to a lot of that, more so than even some of the branded thumbnails. The results would be better in a lot of cases if you just show the interface. I did do some entertainment stuff on the weekend. Some of those aren't unlisted, but as you can see, Could you get views if you did talk about YouTube? Yes. Even if I did entertainment stuff, I could have just been a TV show reviewer and got thousands of views, clearly. So again, what I focused on was things that I knew. And you'll notice again, even 11 years ago, I wasn't talking about how to grow on YouTube. I would just tell you something mechanical, like how to improve the video quality on the production and uploads and the codecs, how to improve the audio quality. That was like 92,000. And again, I kept it simple. A lot of times I would film on a white or a gray backdrop in my bedroom. I would film on, and I'm bringing all of this up to answer part of a larger question a lot of you are having. This will tie to the productivity and workflow stuff. All of this can be made really simple and easy for you guys today, but I'm bringing up my earliest videos on YouTube and my channel to make a point about the concept of just being wildly consistent, but also reconciling your creator identity. I also archived a lot of my old videos to being members only, just for archives, for stuff that just like, not only stuff that like I'm like, who cares, or I didn't do. Like, I have videos that are underperformed. I just leave them up. The main thing is, if I didn't feel it was relevant anymore, a lot of that stuff I just either unlisted or I made members only content, because I would do stuff on the weekends, like I do random unboxings, or again, sometimes on the weekend I would review TV shows, or I would do speed art or something like that. But my main point here in showing you how my old videos used to be is, most of you, your big problems come down to, you don't know your identity as a content creator. You don't know what you're good at and what you provide in terms of a skill set. You don't know what you believe in, and there's not something you're actively doing that you can showcase. When I was making videos, here are things I know about my career that I can tell you. Here are things I know about social media I can tell you. Here's things I know about YouTube that I can tell you. So I went with, here's what I know. Then here's what I believe. Here's my perspective, my unique angle, my opinion, and that's very personality driven. That is compelling, and that's, how you stand out, how you truly stand out. And then there's, well, here's what I'm doing. It's not necessarily what you should do, but here's what I'm doing, and here's what's working for me, and here's my results. And hey, why don't you just see what I'm up to? Why don't you just see me? So I was doing early build in public, what they now call build in public. I was doing that super early, over a decade ago. So those things actually matter, and that could be the framework for your creator identity of what do you believe, what do you know, and what are you doing? Those things make up a lot of your creator identity, because that's basically your identity overall. Okay? If you understood that, then you can make content. Look at someone like Caleb Hammer. Caleb Hammer knows budgeting and he knows debt. He has aggressive beliefs about society and about the nature of economics and people blaming the system for their own bad choices. So he knows money, he knows the statistics, he knows finance, he knows budgeting, he knows asset and wealth creation. He knows those things, and no one can deny he knows those things. He has the background. Then he has strong beliefs, and he's unapologetic about those strong beliefs. And then we also see him doing things. We see him doing his show. We see him with Caleb Hammer Live. He's got his live show and podcast. We see him doing things. We see him doing the financial audits in person with people. So we're seeing him actually do things. And so that's why something like that works. Okay. And you can't call him just an education channel either. Oh, this is a great question from Angela Denise. So great question here. Roberto, would you mind expanding on what you mean by being consistent and what that looks like today in 2026? Consistency is not just uploading a bunch, and it's not just your content frequency. So in 2026, consistency is also, are you staying on mission and on message, right? If you even look back at my oldest content, I had themes. I even had t-shirts to where you could tell what day of the week it was that I was filming a video or doing a certain topic. I was like mad consistent. And so like back then, if I was doing a graphic design video, the thumbnails were going to have this green motif after a while. Like after a while, I went to such crazy consistency to where if I'm wearing purple, I'm talking camera gear or video editing. If I'm wearing blue, it's tech. If I'm wearing green, I'm doing a graphic design or art related video. It would be either green or yellow. Usually yellow is going to be closer to marketing or commentary videos. If I was wearing red, you knew I was doing a YouTube related video. Because after when I got close to 100,000 subscribers, I started on Fridays only. And I was making videos 7 days a week. I'm not telling you to be consistent like that and make videos 7 days a week. But I got to a point to where on Fridays, I was making videos about YouTube, but not necessarily YouTube growth advice, just YouTube basics, like what software to use, how to use certain features like the SEO features. But you can kind of see, if I'm talking about computer gear or I'm unboxing something or I'm talking about tech, I would be wearing these deep blue. When I was doing vlogs, I was wearing and doing yapping vlogs. I was doing yapping vlogs before it was popular. I would just wear the Carolina blue. So I was doing, or baby blue or powder blue, you can see like that. So consistency can be consistency in branding. It can be consistency in messaging. It can be consistency in tone. It can be consistency in themes. It can be consistency in terms of being reliable overall. It can be consistency in terms of staying in your lane and not getting out of that. So there's a lot of things that consistency can be. And so in 2026, the kind of consistency that I would say matters in 2026 is this. I think that in 2026, you have to have a consistent promise that you make to viewers. You have to have a consistent brand, and you have to have a consistent tone. And you can't switch up on, without a good reason, you can't switch up on what you believe and what you profess to believe when you put that out to an audience, if you're going to put that out to an audience. So I would say that's what in 2026 consistency looks like. As the kids would say, you just got to keep that same energy, is what the kids would say. So that means, hey, if you go down a certain path, keep that same energy. So what I would say is, if you're known for something, it's not that you can never do anything else, but you got to do something that fits or matches that thing that you're known for or good at. So if we look at where my content was, and well, okay, Roberto, well, but why the drastic pivot in your content? Well, the market of freelancers quickly became content creators, because like a lot of content creators are freelancers, and a lot of freelancers are content creators now, because it basically came down to a certain point to where a lot of my advice for freelancers had to move away from skills, because at a certain point they had the tutorials, they get it, and it would get repetitive. They told me their biggest problem was getting attention, standing out, and marketing themselves, and running a business and making money, and getting their money out of their clients. And also they told me it was their workflow and tech stack and not knowing what to buy. So the tech videos were valuable because, okay, you can buy things that actually are within your budget that work. But a lot of the advice started to get to, okay, here's the tech and hardware and software you need and how to use it. Still do some of that today. And here is, I mean, we're doing it right now on the Opus Clip channel, and why you use Opus Clip, because it's the best tool for the job. But it became things like that, and it became business advice. It became, well, here's how you get your clients. Here's how you make your money. Well, you got to build a personal brand. Well, what's a personal brand, Roberto? What's branding? So it became marketing. It became very much marketing talk and business talk. And that ended up bleeding largely into YouTube, because YouTube became the best marketing platform for everybody in the entire world. And so it became about these platforms because, okay, well, here's how you, if you're a freelancer, you're trying to make money, but here are other ways you can make money. So it started becoming, well, here's how you make money on mine. Here's how you make money with a stay-at-home business. Because I was freelancing, I was working from home while doing YouTube. That's how I was making my money. I also made a lot of my interviews back in the day, members only. So look at this. This is why it became like how to get your first graphic design clients. today, that video would be, instead for freelancers getting their first graphic design clients, it would be how to get your first brand deals as a small YouTuber, how to get brand deals as a small YouTuber with under 10,000 subscribers, how to get your first brand deal and sponsorship as a small influencer or creator. Those would be and are the kind of videos that I make today. It's literally, even 10 years later, 12 years later, same energy. So a lot of the fundamentals are the same. In your case, Angela, you talk about beauty, makeup, fashion, but here's the consistency. You stick to things that target more of the women like you. So the makeup and the things, again, primarily would focus on women with darker complexions. So I would go that route. I would stick with contrasting. Here's how to get expensive looks for less. I would like focus on budget conscious. So again, these things are about the identity of the audience and then your ability to match your identity. You guys want to know what a niche is? A niche is, here's your identity and your value. Now here's the audience's identity and the audience's values. Do those things match? And then you have a niche. And then you have a niche. So it's, here's the audience and here's you. And the niche is where you guys overlap and where there's a value exchange happening and where you're able to serve that group of people. So I would say consistency is also a matter of not switching up and being able to deliver value for your chosen audience, your chosen tribe. And I'd say the way that you accomplish that and you're consistent is you pick an overarching theme of, here is what I can talk about. So here's what that all becomes. Mine is now, hey, you want to be a full-time content creator or at least make side hustle money as a content creator? Let me help you do that because I've successfully done it for over a decade. Okay, what that means is now I can talk about being a full-time content creator. I can tell you everything I know about being a full-time content creator or making side hustle money as a content creator with social media and these platforms, primarily YouTube, but not only YouTube, because I've made a lot of money doing it. I'm not going to say that number out loud. I've made a lot of money doing it. I make 6 figures a year doing it. Okay. So what then do I know cold that I can talk about? That's the first thing. The next layer is, with all that experience, what do I believe? So I can say things like, I don't believe that AI is the devil. I don't believe that AI is inauthentic. I believe it's a time-saving tool. I think it's about how you use the tool. I think that it's a poor workman who blames a tool for existing. So here's what I believe about AI. Here's what I believe about the creator economy. Here's why I believe that TikTok's in decline. Here's why I believe that Twitch is struggling. Here's why I believe that YouTube's the best. Here's why I believe that Spotify is underrated drastically and that Spotify for creators is amazing. Here is why I believe that for short form and distribution and scheduling, Opus Clip is the best tool. Here's why I believe 1 of 10 is the best thumbnail tool. Here's why I believe that Adobe's not going to lose that badly on market share, even with all this stuff Apple's doing. Oh, here's why I believe it's not too late to make a YouTube channel in 2026 and be successful. Like, I can tell you what I know, I can tell you what I believe, but then I can also show you, here's my workflow for editing videos. Here's my workflow for generating B-roll in Agent Opus. Here's my workflow for taking my speaking engagements, cutting them up, and making them into short form videos that help me show that I'm a public speaker. Oh, here's my media kit. Here's my process for pitching to sponsors and brands and why everybody should build out their media kit. Here's how I do my brand deal CRM or whatever, right? Like, I even built myself using AI. I used Claude and Manus. I built myself. This number is not the actual number in my pipeline, so don't get twisted that I make all this money. This is all based on what could we get from a year from these brands based on conversations or what other creators told me that they've been paid or what I know exists off of my research. Like if we reached out to these people and we closed these people, what could we get? And I put a bunch of brands in there. There's no guarantee that my agency will close any of these people, but if they did, if we closed all of them, which I could not do, I can't even take all of this work if I wanted to, because I couldn't do more than 30 to 60 branded videos on my channel in a year unless we do all of them as live streams, and they will not pay this much for the live streams, trust me. So I couldn't get this number if I wanted to right now, because I can't do the fulfillment. But you get the idea. It's just that I built myself a CRM so that I can add a brand into my pipeline and I could like do all this stuff. So I built this custom software. Actually, anybody can use this if you go to awesomecreatoracademy.com/CRM, but I'm not here to plug it because it's like, it's free. It's literally $0, but like anybody can use this. But my point is, this is an example of, oh, I could build in public. I could show people, well, here's how I would do something. And then boom, I have a video if I just show people what I'm doing. So you have to, here's what I know, here's what I believe, here's what I'm doing. And that's content. If you were a vlogger, if you were a family vlogger, you would maybe sneak parenting advice in that says, here's what I know, but people would also be seeing how you live, so they see what you're doing and that what you say you know, you're using it to wrangle your kids, and that, oh, you believe the things that you're saying because that's how you're actually raising your children. So like you would be doing those things, you would be demonstrating the belief in those things by doing it, what you say, and then we'd see if you know what you're talking about because the proof will speak for itself in the actions. So that's the alignment for a vlogger using, here's what I know, here's what I believe, and here's what I'm doing. So that's an example. Same thing for a fitness influencer. Oh, if you believe this, then okay, we see you living that way in the content and we see your results. We see your body transformation. We saw you lose the 30 pounds or whatever. So clearly, okay, you believe that. Oh, your clients are getting results. You're showing us that you took the same things you believe in, applied them to your clients, your belief and your knowledge, and your clients believed it and did what you said you know. And then they got the result, and we saw your client lose 40 pounds in 2 months. Okay, cool. We got it. So that's why understanding who you are and what your creator identity is and what that represents in value that you bring to an audience is important, because your creator identity is what you value as well as the values that you hold. And then you're aligning that to an overall audience. And so then your topics in your content become relevant to that and related to that, and they coalesce around that theme. That theme is like the core mission statement or belief statement of your brand, and so then you execute on that. And then as far as I'm concerned, as long as you use quality tools and reasonable methods, there's nothing inauthentic about using AI to, okay, you went through trouble to make a video but you suck at graphic design. I don't think you have to always pay someone like me, and someone like me may not be available. What if a big YouTuber, what if you did pay a thumbnail artist and then some big YouTuber sees that's in your niche? What if some big rich YouTuber in your niche steals your thumbnail artist away from you, pays them double because they can, and now you're screwed? Am I gotta tell you to go through that painful hiring process again and wait 2 months to put out a video while you hire somebody? Or is it okay to just use AI? Yeah, it's more than okay to just use AI. Okay, cool. Get a thumbnail done. You still make great quality content. You lost your thumbnail artist. Great. Use AI, fill in the gap, put out a good video with good packaging. So, for me, it's just very simple in that regard in terms of squaring this. Like, it doesn't, I'm not going to tell you that you can't use these things effectively, because you can, and it could save you money and it could save you frustration. And I think it's perfectly reasonable. Yeah. What would you say about posting content on other social media platforms outside of YouTube? One of the great things about Opus is that when I do my short form that cuts up my speaking engagements, is that I take it into the scheduling tool from Opus, and that goes to my other platforms. I'm having a problem with my own Instagram login, so that's a different issue. Otherwise, it'd be going there. But like when I want to upload things from my speaking engagement, it goes to YouTube, it goes to TikTok, it goes to LinkedIn, it goes to X, it goes to Facebook, and it would be going to Instagram, but I'm having a different issue over there that's not Opus's fault. So yeah, I would say that posting content to other social media platforms is more than fine, because I think it should be about building your brand, not platform loyalty. Well, people go, but I want people to all watch and subscribe to you at YouTube. It's like, that's going to be very hard if they don't know who you are. If you post to other platforms, they can know who you are. And then when they're on YouTube, maybe they'll look you up. Or maybe if something in YouTube shows up on their feed, they'll recognize you and click. But if you're a stranger to them in YouTube, the odds of them clicking are very low. Now with shorts, they're scrolling, so they might find you through scrolling. So I think it does nothing to hurt your YouTube channel to post to these other platforms. And a lot of people will say, well, you're taking away focus from YouTube. How? It's stupid to say that you're taking away focus from YouTube. You make the video, it can now live everywhere. And with Opus, it can be distributed everywhere. It takes 5 minutes. Oh my God, it took 5 minutes to schedule videos for 5 other platforms. Oh my God, it took 5 minutes of focus away from YouTube. It takes no focus away from YouTube to upload the same short form to every platform. Not when you're using Opus. If you're doing it manually, sure, you're now making that take 40 minutes. But with Opus, it takes 5 to post it to every platform. So I would just post it to every platform, and I would use Opus to do that. When we stream, we use StreamYard, and it takes me no effort to be on 3, 5, 6 other platforms and be everywhere. Now I have an archive everywhere. Now people can watch where they want. They can find out that I have a YouTube channel. They can find out about my products or my offers. If I have a sponsor, I can go ahead and show them the combined numbers and not just the YouTube numbers. There's not some downside to being on these other platforms, and it's not any more effort. It used to be more effort, but even that, everybody could have just outsourced it and been on every platform every time they upload a long form video for less than $15 by outsourcing it to an assistant at $15 an hour. If they get an overseas VA, because there's no reason to prioritize an American for that particular job role, you could do it at $6 every time you upload a long form video. A VA overseas could do an hour of admin work to distribute that thing, on every other platform that has long form. Back then, though, the only one that you could monetize for long form on other platforms was really, that had good monetization, was Facebook. Still is. So it's not that hard to just upload a video to Facebook. The biggest issue is people want the identity of saying they're a YouTuber. They want to say like, subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. People want to be a YouTuber more than they want to be a content creator. People want to be a TikToker more than they want to be, but they want to be a Twitch streamer. They want the association with the brand because frankly, they want peers and friends that can respect them as YouTubers, TikTokers, or Twitch streamers. They want the identity association with the platform. I'm going to tell all of you this. Most problems start with identity first. Then after identity, they become problems of strategy and workflow and structure. Most people's problem is an identity problem as a creator. Then they might have really bad systems, like they don't know what they're doing in terms of systems and tools to use, but that's a easy fix, I would say, in many cases. They usually have really bad structure in terms of their timing, the amount of time they spend on things, the energy, waking up early. They have structural problems there and consistency and planning issues. Then I would say after all that, a lot of people have really inefficient workflows that kill the little bit of time that they have. A lot of that is improved with AI tools like Opus Clip and Agent Opus and ChatGPT and Claude and StreamYard and all the rest. Then, after all of that, then their issue becomes strategy. But there's no strategy that can help you if you haven't fixed a lot of those other issues for the most part. George says, furthermore, you mentioned a CRM earlier. What exactly is this and how can it help me with relation to content creation and managing clients? You how do you gain these clients, partnerships? That would be a subject that would take us a 1 to 2 hour stream. I've actually covered it on live streams on my own channel. If you want to follow my channel, youtube.com @Roberto Blake. I've done deep dives into this already. The short version of your first question is CRM is a customer relationship management software or a client relationship management software. When it comes to your brand deals, it's a way to put information into a system and to track it and organize it for you or for someone else to use. I have an agency managing my brand deals. I did 95% of all my brand deals myself. Now I'm putting that in the hands mostly of an agent, unless I have those things through personal relationships already. So they're doing that on my behalf in terms of doing outreach, follow-up communication, keeping me accountable on deadlines, getting me all the things I need, blah, blah, blah. So that's helpful. That's another productivity thing. So a CRM just makes sure that they have all the information that I have and that they have my expectations and they have any of the contacts that I previously have had from either me doing outreach or people outreaching to me. So it's an organizational tool instead of keeping it all in your head or scattered across a million emails. As for getting clients and most of that, you do outreach. If people don't come to you, you go to them. You do outreach, you go, here are all the brands sponsoring the top 5 people in my niche. Great. This is who has money. This is who has budget. This is what the ad reads look like. This is what the views and expectations look like. Okay, cool. Those are my targets. That is my standard. Then you just go after that. It's not complicated at all, actually. George says, so you mentioned brand identity for a channel as a key decisive issue and starting point to find before position content. Was the absolute best way to find this brand identity then? Go through the Ikigai exercise. What are you passionate about? Where do your actual skills line? Or do any of your passions result in skills you actually have that create value for people? Things you're good at, not things you wish you were good at. So is there anything you like a lot, love, or a passion, or really like, but then that you're actually good at? Because if you like it and you suck at it, it's not useful. That's a hobby. If you like it and you suck at it, it's a hobby. If you like it and you're good at it, it creates value. That can now translate to what can you be paid for and what can attract an audience. So Ikigai is, what are you passionate about? What are you good at? What can you be paid for? And what will attract an audience? Something must be able to accomplish all 4 of those things. I would tell people, write down 5 things you're passionate about, 5 skills that you have, and then find the overlap between those. Then look at whether or not that tracks a big enough audience for you to make money or to satisfy your ego and motivation. Because let's be real, even if you're good at something and you like something, but no one's attracted to it, you have no motivation to keep doing it unless you're making money. But if not a lot of people are attracted to it, it's hard to make money unless the few people attracted to it all have a lot of money and are like more affluent or just outright rich. That's kind of like the lane I stay in is, yeah, I'll just focus primarily on doing something that people with money value, that I'm good at, that I don't hate doing for money, and then I'm fine. And then everything else I like, that's just a hobby. Cool. And if I make enough money, I can justify having hobbies. So that's the answer. That's really the answer. Artist Haven says, this is why I utilize tools like Opus Clip. I don't have time between making candy, markets, editing videos, and eating and sleeping to spend 40 minutes uploading to all socials like I want to. Yeah, there's no reason to do it, by the way. If AI can do something, where the expectation doesn't require a human being, why do it? If a human being doesn't do this better, doesn't do this faster, and isn't particularly meaningful to the process, then a human being shouldn't do it. I would say the manual uploading of your videos do not need and belong with a human being. So manual uploads, there's no reason a human being should be doing that. When it comes to your research, a human being should check research. I don't think a human being has to do research. A lot of people find that controversial. I disagree. Just have all the AI cite your sources and link back to real articles that exist. And then if you so choose, you can read those articles and verify those facts or main points for yourself if you want to cross-reference or check it. You could also use AI to source all the material, then hire somebody to do the vetting and put a human being in charge of that, give you the final output, and then you do quality control. That's called being a boss. That's called being a CEO. I think that AI gets people who may not know how to hire people, can't work with others, maybe antisocial, maybe just shy, or don't have the money to work with people. You can just go ahead and be a CEO because you just outsource and finally delegate things instead of doing every single thing manually yourself, which makes no sense. As someone who worked in management before, you shouldn't do everything yourself. You should give it to somebody else who might be better at it, faster at it, or if you don't want to do it or you're not good at it, then why do it? It still needs to get done. Cool. That doesn't mean you have to do it, and it doesn't make it more authentic. What makes something authentic is your presentation, your delivery, and do you believe what you're saying? That's what makes something authentic. Like your point of origin, you don't have to be the one who came up with something. You could authentically communicate what your parents or grandparents told you. You believe it. You weren't the one who came up with it. You didn't do that, but you believe it. You saw it. You experienced it. You have a genuine investment in it. You can speak passionately and authentically. You don't have to come up with the original idea. You could literally just verbatim say, my dad said, my mom said, and you could just, and that's authentic. It doesn't have to come from you. This idea that authentic content must begin and end with you in every part of the craftsmanship is BS. It's nonsense. It's not real. The biggest YouTubers you all know, they don't make most of their content. 80% of everything you see from the biggest YouTubers, 90% of it, even the ideas, came from their team. The YouTuber is just a performer in many cases. Most big YouTubers are performers and CEOs. They are not the editing talent. They have none of the creative vision and storyboarding, and they are not sitting there doing the script themselves. They're not writing it. They're approving it. They are a performer reading a script by other talented writers who have great producers and editors behind them, great thumbnail artists and photographers behind them, and sometimes great strategists and coaches that came up with the concept in the first place, or a writer's room. That's no better just because they had 30 humans at their disposal than you having 5 AI tools. The quality can't even be guaranteed because you don't like everything that YouTubers put out anyway. Even the big YouTubers who have teams, you don't like everything they put out. So why is a small solo creator, a working class creator that doesn't have big money, big teams, big budget, hasn't been bought off by private equity or whatever, automatically better or more authentic than a YouTuber in their bedroom that's going to perform a script that they had AI co-write with them? That's no different than hiring a writer's room or hiring a freelancer. Outsourcing the research to AI, no different than handing it off to 2 interns. Plenty of YouTubers do it, have been doing it. Most YouTubers don't edit their own content as far as the biggest YouTubers. Small YouTubers all edit their own content, but okay, how is it that you're unethical paying for some editing tool that may do some AI or some B-roll? How's that unethical? A YouTuber just paying for a subscription to a B-roll service and probably hiring someone at 8 times cheaper the market value in the Philippines, that's more ethical than you using an AI tool? I don't believe that. So, and I'm not making an aspersion that what they're doing is unethical either. I'm just saying that why are we making a moral judgment about whatever process somebody uses instead of just judging the output of, did we like the videos that they're making or not? Did we enjoy them? Like, I understand some people having an investment in the process, but even your favorite YouTubers, if you really knew their process, you wouldn't like them any more or less. And then you would have a conflict of whether you enjoy watching their material if you find out something about how the business is run. Some people just do, and that's fine. But do the majority of people really feel an investment in that? No, not really. Which is why when you see most YouTubers, if they have employees leave and someone makes a, oh, I left this YouTuber, I left that YouTuber, the YouTuber's views don't usually go down. So, you know, it is what it is. So again, George says, appreciate you answering all my questions, taking the time to do so. Yeah, absolutely. How's it going, Stanley Orchard? Yeah, so again, I think that for a lot of you, look, Opus Clip saved me so much productivity, but also so much time, but also made me want to actually do the short form clips of my speaking engagements, especially with the scheduling tool to grow my other platforms. Because I'll be honest with you guys, years and years ago, I had paid someone thousands of dollars to cut up short form for me, and I got almost nothing back, and there were always excuses. And when I got it back, it wasn't quality. It wasn't what I was hoping for. It's not even close to what Opus does. I invested thousands of dollars to get results over the course of like 8 months that I couldn't barely even use. Opus Clip has produced more short form clips for me in any 8-week period that I got out of those 8 months, and the quality was 5 times better. And it was a fraction of the cost. $200 to $400 because I think I have some upgrades. So I think I probably pay, because actually, believe it or not, I still pay for Opus. I think because I did some upgrades, I pay something like somewhere between $250 and $400 a year for Opus. I was paying thousands of dollars to not get what I get between, but I was also having that person do something besides Opus, but ChatGPT did everything else that that person used to do, and now Claude does everything else. And I replaced them before the AI, or rather I let them go as a contractor before the AI got good. But when the AI got good, it wasn't even close. I got back everything I needed from them like that. Things I was planning to hire for during the pandemic, I have built software now. I have now built software of my own using AI to build software that does things I was originally planning to hire for. I built software that does it for me now and takes 5 minutes to get back what would have been 5 hours of someone's work, or even 50 hours of someone's work. So I do that. What I love about things like Agent Opus is you would spend 20, 30 minutes hunting through story blocks for the right footage, and Agent Opus will make exactly what you want and make 5 variations of it in half the time or less. So I just think that it is undeniable that these tools are here. And I understand large established creators with millions of subscribers being threatened by them, because it means that a lot of these creators that have 20, 50, 100 person teams are going to have to compete with bedroom YouTubers that have either no team or a small team, or it's them and their significant other, and 2 people to 5 people will now be able to compete with a big YouTuber who used to have a competitive advantage, what we call a moat in business. A bunch of big YouTubers' moat was they got sponsors to give them front money, or they got investors, or they already were rich and they came from money, and they could just hire 10, 20, 50, 100 people, and they could just make better content than you. Now you have software that you pay $20 a month for, and now it's that $20 a month. Every time you pay $20 a month, it's like having 2 full-time employees. Of course, a big YouTuber that invested millions of dollars over the last 5 to 10 years to build a 10, 20, 30, 50 person team to make better videos is going to be upset that now you have tools that will get you the same level of quality at $20 to $100 a month. That's just what being real about it would look like. Daniel Young says, hey, Roberto, I just pivoted and joined Opus Clip to claw back some time as a creator. Losing thumbnail artists pushed a hard question for me. Is it honor mode to let AI step in? So I'm not sure what honor mode is, but here's my thought. Your allegiance is to the viewer. The audience must come first. My philosophy of everything as a content creator is the philosophy of what I call being the value first creator, which means being the audience first creator. Everything you do must be for the benefit of the audience. Therefore, if everything you do must be in service of the audience, I do not necessarily care what you do to serve the audience as best as you can and as respectfully as you can. The audience needs a thumbnail that speaks to them, is easy for them to understand, and easy for them to click on, so that they don't waste time on a video they don't want. Your obligation is that if you don't make a good thumbnail, they will watch someone else who did. That person that they watch may not give truthful information. They may just be a better thumbnail artist and a better performer. They may not have the audience's best interest at heart. They may not be a good person, but they're really good at packaging and they're really good at making content. You have an obligation to make the best content possible, because if you don't, someone else will, and you can't trust what that person's intentions are. You can trust your own intentions. You can always trust your own intentions, but not somebody else's. Therefore, you have an ethical obligation to succeed if you care about ethics. If you believe yourself to be, if you can answer the question, am I a good person? Then your greatest ethical duty from my point of view is to be successful and to serve the people that you're meant to serve better than anyone else. Because if you don't, you cannot guarantee that anyone else in the market is a good person. You cannot guarantee that anyone else is a good person. So if you're a good person, you should win. And so for me, if using an AI tool means that a otherwise good person can win, then they should use that tool to get the attention they need, get the time that they need to be successful and to win, and then to deliver value to the marketplace. If it became down to truth tellers versus hucksters, and whoever makes the best thumbnail or the best content wins, there's nothing honorable about handicapping yourself and letting the hucksters who have no scruples win the entire market just so you can say, well, I didn't use AI tools, and you pat yourself on the back. There's nothing honorable about that, because everybody who clicks on that stuff, well, they just shouldn't click on that stuff. It's like, well, you're just throwing the audience under the bus and saying, because you refuse to meet the market and meet your customers, your audience, the people you're supposed to care about, where they are, and they're like, we will respond to this. And you go, well, I'm not going to do that. You're abandoning them to whoever will fight for their attention if you're not going to do it. And I think that should make you lose more sleep at night than using these tools. And it's not close. So that's my belief about it. But like I said earlier, that's the other cool thing about differentiating yourself in the market, is you can differentiate yourself in the market just by being upfront about your beliefs and your convictions, especially if you're a contrarian, and especially in 2026. Yeah, AI, absolutely, Angela, Denise. AI is leveling the playing field. If you wanted to put out 3 to 5 shorts a day, that sounds really hard, and that it'll be an 8-hour workday. But with Opus Clip, every short that you edit that's a minute or less or 90 seconds or less only has to, with everything Opus can do for you, even as an editor, everything it does as an editor, there's no short that you should be doing that's 30 to 90 seconds, which is usually the sweet spot, that should take more than 5 to 15 minutes to edit. If that's the case, then almost everyone here can edit 3 to 5 shorts a day as long as they have the initial footage. The initial footage to make a crap ton of shorts should have only taken 30 minutes to an hour, because it shouldn't need that much editing. It should be a real-time experience of some kind. So if that, like, for example, Angela Denise, if you were going to do, a review of a single shade of lipstick and just show women what it looks like and, how it handles, and then do the kiss test and do all that stuff, you can do that in 30 to 60 seconds and then tag that product with YouTube Shopping. Filming that 30 to 60 seconds won't take 5 minutes even. You could make 10 videos like that are really good, and it will take you 1 hour to 90 minutes. And they'll be all really good, authentic shorts. And so then you'd have like 10 of them. You could do, and so that's like 60 to 90 minutes. You could do 3 sessions of that in a weekend, and now you've got 30 custom-made intentional YouTube shorts. You could release 3 of those a day and have 10 days of content off of literally 3 hours of filming, and then another basically 3 hours of editing an Opus Clip. That's 6 hours for you to have 30 videos released over 10 days that all also monetize with YouTube Shopping product. That's a fast workflow. if you did not use Opus for and that's the distribution on YouTube alone. That's not kind of the fact that now you have these 30 videos and you can distribute them to 5 different platforms. That's 150 pieces of content in less than 10 hours. That's the real time savings and productivity. If you didn't use Opus, this would be a much longer process because you'd be cutting up and reformatting and doing the manual tracking and doing all this nonsense, even for a short video. Instead of this taking 5 to 15 minutes per video, it could take an hour per video. That's not a good enough turnaround, especially even with the upside of the revenue or the affiliate commissions. So all of a sudden, you can have 150 pieces of content across 5 platforms across 10 days, and it will take you 10 hours or less. So 10 days of content 3 times a day, but you did in less than 10 hours. That's a lot of efficiency. That's a lot of efficiency. That means 1 week of work becomes 1 month of content across 5 or 6 platforms. And that's if you made real intentional short form content. That's not even counting the implications of filming something IRL or long form, or filming a very 1 hour get ready with me video and having multiple segments that Opus can just automatically generate out of a get ready with me video, which turns 1 hour of content into 10, 20, 30 videos that are actually good for very little effort. That gets you possibly 10 to 30 pieces of content for 3 hours of effort from just filming a long get ready with me video. So you see, that's what the scale of Opus Clip does with regard to AI. And then in terms of getting ideas like this, workshopping them with AI when you have nobody to talk to at 5 in the morning, when you got up early or couldn't get back to sleep or are restless and you can't call Roberto at 5 in the morning, you could literally just go into ChatGPT or Claude and workshop your ideas while you go on a walk for 15 minutes. So, you know what I do? I literally break out my phone, I go for a walk for 30 minutes, and I put in my headphones and I talk to either Claude, Grok, or ChatGPT, whichever one I'm feeling at the moment. And I'll sit there, go for my walk, literally listen to and argue with my AI about my ideas. And then I'll also be sitting there playing Pokemon Go. So I'm getting 3 things done at once. And that's how I make it productive and fun. And so that's why I would say that it's wildly practical to use AI tools like Opus to level the playing field, because it's an efficiency hack for everybody who doesn't have the budget for a team. Your biggest YouTubers that you all admire are not doing all of this themselves. They have a team behind the camera, behind the editing. They don't do this anymore. They stopped doing it. A lot of them hired a team at 100,000 subscribers. They don't wait to 1 million anymore. They stopped doing it themselves a long time ago. I'm one of the last YouTubers that crazily still edits all their content, makes all their thumbnails, does all their stuff. Like, I still do things the hard way. And I only did that because I got derailed into that by the pandemic, because when I wanted to hire people, the pandemic happened and it derailed me. But now that AI is here, I've rethought how much how much hiring I'm willing to do. There is some hiring I'm willing to do, but it's no longer nearly as much as I was going to do, because the pandemic meant I couldn't if I wanted to, because it was lockdowns, and I wanted in-person people. I wanted real in-person humans. So my hiring went to friends and family at a local level, and mostly for my coaching business and my admin work. Sometimes when I need photos or extra video, one of my siblings, they're on payroll, they can do that. But I mostly do everything myself. When I did speaking engagements, I used to hire somebody to go and fly out with me to the speaking engagements. But the only person I trust to do that, there's only 2 people I trust to do that, and they're hardly available anymore. So it's things like that. So I wanted to hire in-person local humans, the thing everyone says is the most ethical thing. And then the pandemic happened. It wasn't an option. Then AI came, and it's like, wait a minute. Do I really need to do that? What are the results? The results didn't start great, but now they're fantastic. So look at how far Opus has come. Opus is like killing it and keeps rolling out features. So This levels the playing field as far as I'm concerned for like any content creator who wants time, efficiency, and scale. Hey, Roberto, here's where I land. Stewardship of time. If AI helps me automate repetitive work so I can spend more energy on message, mentorship, and excellence, is why stewardship is not laziness. I couldn't agree more. I love this take. I agree with this 1,000% because this is my take. Is be ruthless with your time. AI should not replace the time I'm spending with a human being. But if it gives me back more time, like me working on a thumbnail may not be meaningful. People can whine about craft all they want. I was a graphic designer for over 20 years now. I've been a graphic designer most of my adult life and a lot of my life before I was an adult because I was getting paid for it. So I can say that because I was getting paid as a teenager, okay? And I think that's pretty normal now. It wasn't normal then. So what I can tell you is this. If I'm using an AI to spend less time in front of a screen is not lazy. It'd be different if I was using AI to spend less time in front of another human being. AI, I think people have romanticized this idea of giving more of themselves and saying, oh yeah, look at me, I'm making all this human authentic content as they slave away in front of a screen. No, if it's gonna be a computer, why don't I let another computer do it? Meanwhile, I can be in a chat with human beings right now live streaming. I can be mentoring someone on a one-on-one call. I can be with friends or family. I can be more human if I use a machine to do work with a machine. If I'm gonna work with a human, then I should be in front of a human. But if I'm gonna be in front of a screen, why not just have a robot do it? Would you recommend that consistent live streams are a solid idea to keep an audience engaged? Yeah, live streams are great for community and for connection. Couldn't have said it better. Stanley Orchard says, couldn't have said it better myself. You're exactly right. Thank you. Yep. What if I were to make long form videos, then from those long form, make them into short form? Example, Opus Clip still work. Opus Clip works for that, but you'd have to be intentional about the long form. So if you were an entertainer, I would tell you go do man or woman on the street content and do those like in-person interviews like on the beach or outside of a nightclub. Then I would say clip that, and then that makes sense to do that and film for 1 or 2 hours and then get possibly dozens of videos out of that session. And then you've got dozens of shorts, absolutely, maybe hundreds even. So I would do that. I do the same thing with my speaking engagements. So that makes sense. If you're an educator, go and do a speaking engagement, go teach a workshop, or go do an interview and then cut that up, and then that makes long form into short form. But making a regular YouTube video and cutting into short form, I don't believe that unless you intentionally made it for clip farming that it actually works. So I don't believe in that. But I do believe live streaming and then clipping things like questions or hot takes or moments into short form absolutely works. And it's a fantastic idea. So from a workflow standpoint, I would say if you're a lifestyle channel, you go and you film yourself at the yoga session, you film yourself in the gym, you film the workout, you film the race, whatever it is, you film the bike trip, you film the thing, you film the time lapse of yourself setting up the tent if you're camping, whatever, you film, and then you do voiceover if you're doing lifestyle content. If you're doing education, you can either film yourself doing the thing and then cut up pieces of that. If you're doing speaking engagement, you obviously cut up pieces of that. If you're doing an interview, you cut up the questions, the Q&A, the debates, all of that. And then if you're doing entertainment, I think the entertainment should be meant to be clipped and you should stage it to be clipped. I don't think just making a regular YouTube video, long form for YouTube, and then cutting it into pieces is a good idea. I think you should intentionally stage something that makes good short form when clipped. Daniel says, I honor the humans behind the work and I don't want AI to erase human creators like us. Can we use AI as a tool to assist in the creative process? You can, but here's the rub. The rub is, first of all, the layers that AI should replace is tedious work that people don't want to do. I don't think it's inherently bad to erase human work or human labor. There's human labor people don't want to do, There's human labor that makes them depressed. There's human labor that they literally would not do if they were not being paid. I see no dishonor in erasing human labor, because most human labor that people do, they don't want to do it. They are doing it only because they can be paid for it. They don't enjoy it. If you enjoy work that you're doing, then you should do work that you would enjoy. If you're only doing work because you would be getting paid for it, I don't see any problem in erasing that situation if you would not otherwise enjoy the process or you don't like what you're doing. I'll give you a primary example. When I decided to stop working for somebody else, I eliminated, or even we mutually arguably eliminated, my labor and erased my work. And then I got to go and do work that I like doing better. Like, there's that aspect of it. If you don't enjoy editing, but you like filming, you should eliminate filming. Sorry, if you don't like editing, but you love filming, you love performing, but you don't like editing, but editing was necessary for you to get content out on a platform building audience, you should eliminate and erase editing. And if your budget means that you can't pay somebody what they'd be worth, it's not a matter of then you shouldn't put out content. You should put out content. You should serve an audience. The thing that's in your budget now is AI. I think we have a tendency, and this is no offense to anybody, I think we romanticize human involvement in processes that involve a screen. I think if a process involves a screen, we're romanticizing and justifying putting a human in front of a screen where the blue light burns out their eyes, it hurts their attention span, their spine is being compressed every minute they sit in that chair. I do not see reducing, limiting, or eliminating processes of human labor that are clearly not even great for our bodies, our minds, and our health, and giving those tasks over to robots so that you can do the tasks that don't hurt you and that you like more. If you like writing, you shouldn't eliminate the writing. But if you hate editing, eliminate the editing, then the time and quality of the writing improves. If you like the performing on camera part, spending more time on the writing and the performing on camera, and if you like the cinematography and the lighting, taking all the time back from the editing and giving that to a robot and putting it into the parts that you like, that's better. Know that most editors, they don't like trimming the rough cut for the thing. So if AI can do the rough cut, and what you like is you like doing the motion graphics, by eliminating all the rough cut and all of the B-roll, you get to claw back all the time that you would spend in Premiere and put it into After Effects and Photoshop to make the motion graphics, because that's the part you like. So I see no problem in eliminating every single part of a task that you don't like and only spending time on the task that you do like. And I'm 100% behind eliminating the human involvement and erasing the human involvement from any task you do not enjoy and any task that you are not good at serving your audience with. If you are bad at audio, your audience deserves good audio. If you are bad at it, it's not better to give a human being's version of bad audio instead of clicking a button and getting studio audio. The audience is not better served by you honoring a human being's bad audio instead of a machine's better audio. So just click the button, give them better audio, erase a mediocre audio editor or audio engineer, and just give it to the robot. 100% I believe in that. If your budget cannot afford a good thumbnail artist, but it could afford a great AI thumbnail generator, your audience needs an actual thumbnail they can clip on so they won't get scammed by someone who makes a better thumbnail. So again, I think that we need to stop romanticizing even our fellow craftsmen and creators and ask ourselves, what is in the best interest of the audience? Think about it like this. Whenever an industry protects its workers, its the Hollywood protects its actors or actresses or whatever, or its filmmakers or its craftsmen, it sounds great and solidarity sounds really good. But when the audience gets an inferior product, an inferior experience that they spent their money on, was that noble? Was that good? Was that truly the honorable or right thing to do? Because I think as creators, we look at the defense of our peers or our level or even ourselves, and then we don't look at what is truly meaningful and what is truly the best interest of the audience and what serves the audience better. So I think we need to step back and we need to look at that. And then, by the way, I think we need to stop arguing our way into saying, yes, I want to spend more time in a chair destroying my spine in front of a screen, destroying my eyeballs while also ruining my mental health. I think we really need to stop rationalizing, because think about it, we're not talking about spending more time woodworking or more time doing cinematography or rigging or lighting or grip work. When we talk about putting more human effort into content creation, we are literally talking about spending more time in front of screens, in chairs, ruining our spines and ruining our eyeballs and ruining our attention spans and ruining our mental health. We're not talking about doing more work on prop design. We're not talking about more rigging. We're not talking about doing active things that would make us stronger and be what craftsmanship used to be is called working with your hands. A keyboard does not make you a craftsman per se. And that's no offense to anybody. I spend all my time in front of a keyboard and a mouse and a screen. I'm making the very clear counter argument and contrarian argument that I do not think it serves us or our audiences to argue for being in front of a screen, a keyboard, and in a chair longer so that we can say that we took some moral high ground or stance or that we're more authentic, because I don't think that's real. I do think that, again, the ideas are what's important in the human experience, and the ideas are what's important in the creativity. I believe that writing is valuable more than almost any other skill. I believe that writing and communication is better than almost any other skill. And I believe that AI can be incredibly helpful and assistive in writing so that you can kill your darlings faster, have a copy editor at your disposal, and get your stuff to be more concise, relate to your audience better, take angles you haven't considered, and AI is fantastic at helping for that. It should not be a one-to-one replacement. If that's your argument, then we agree. I do not think that the editing is, and I know a lot of people who love the editing process will disagree with me, I don't think it's more meaningful for you to manually clip out all your silences, ums, and ahs yourself instead of automating that process and give it to an AI. I don't think it's more meaningful for you to personally color grade something than using a preset. I don't think it's more meaningful for you to do the audio engineering than to click a button that makes the audio perfect or you move a slider afterward. I don't think that that's particularly meaningful. And I don't think the audience cares that much or is invested on the amount of effort you put in. They care about the outcome and experience that they're getting. Now, in terms of creative judgment and choices of what B-roll to use, that should be you. The ordering of sequences, that should be you. The structure, the storytelling aspect, yes. The mechanical effort should not be defended anymore. Storytelling, structure, script writing, style choices, and judgment should be the domain of humans. Mechanical processes of execution and refinement should probably be the domain of machines, because they will do it better, they will do it faster, they will do it at less cost, and they will probably ultimately do it in such a way that claws back all of our time for the actual creative work of style, storytelling, scripting, structure, and it'll be the things that are make of substance. Yep. Monique says, yes, sitting on 6 videos to edit before heading to the US in 2 weeks with 8 more to film tomorrow. The bottleneck grows. Yeah, exactly. Angela Denise says, I need AI to handle my affiliate marketing links and the creation of my deep links. In a lot of ways, it could do that. At some point, I've been thinking of making, I'd partner with somebody to make this software. Look into Genius Link. I think that could help a lot, but I would like to see Genius Link, and I might give them this idea as a consultant. I'd like to see them expand on some things that could help with that. I'd like them to build a plugin for YouTube that can do find replace I think if they do a find replace plugin in YouTube, that they win the entire market. Unfortunately, it would also mean there'd be no reason to use TubeBuddy at all. So yeah, there is that. Let's see. Imperial Man podcast says the AI revolution will come with some growing pains, but you can find old articles about the early days of mass computer adoption with the idea it was going to stop all of us being chained to desk. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There'll be growing pains. There'll be ups and downs to all of this, but I strongly, deep down, believe that this will be a net good for content creators, because for the working class content creator, it may not be work out that great for the big content creators whose moat was having 50 employees or 100 employees and a big team and a bunch of money. Like, so for the rich upper class, it may not be a good thing, but for the working class content creator, the solo content creator, the bedroom YouTuber, the solo podcaster, this is the best thing that ever happened to any of you, because the factors that always have hurt small content creators, there's four of them. Really, there's really four factors that hurt small content creators, and AI tools like Opus Clip and ChatGPT and 1 of 10 eliminate all of them. So watch this. Time freedom is the single biggest problem for a working class creator to usually overcome, is time freedom. You don't have enough time to do everything and do everything well, not enough time to learn everything. So AI solves that. Investment capital. You can't compete with more people that have more money than you to invest in a better outcome. AI levels the playing field and neutralizes almost all of that. The best writer in the world will struggle. Let me phrase that. The best YouTube script writer in the world, at best, will only be 30% better than Claude AI. I'll be real with you. The best YouTube script writer in the world will only be 30% better than Claude AI. The best human short form clipper in the world will only be 30% better, maybe 50% better at best than Opus Clip, but they will cost 1,000 times, 100 times to 1,000 times more, and will be slower. So investment capital, AI neutralizes the playing field. Manpower. Big YouTubers have large teams, or even small, tight, efficient teams like Ryan Trahan, 3-5 people, whatever. A solo working class creator only has themselves. AI tools, every AI tool you have is a new employee. So all of a sudden you've got a workforce of 5, 10 people, and it's costing you what, 50 to $100 a month. A lot of these things have free tiers that will be good enough for you for the time that you have. Oh, all of a sudden you don't have a manpower issue aside from the physical labor part for film production, second pair of hands for camera, B-roll, that sort of thing. But for every other task, oh, you've got manpower now. You've got a thumbnail artist. You've got a clipper. You have that now. You have a script writer. You have a researcher. That's your AI team when it comes to scaled content creation. So, and then the final one is experience, education, and expertise. That's E. This all spells time, by the way, so time's always the problem. So that's the fourth one. You can learn anything you need to learn to a competent and reasonable degree by having AI do some research for you. You can use Notebook LM, then it puts you into a 20-minute podcast that you can listen to on your walk or in the shower, and you start to, will you learn the thing in 20 minutes? No, but 20 minutes 3 times a day while you're walking, jogging, working out, in the shower, that adds up, and between that and you executing, you'll understand it a lot better than you would in many cases doing a 9-week class. So you'll understand these things, so you'll learn more and you'll learn it faster. You can ask AI anything you want and get an answer when you want the answer. So it solves for almost all of the issues of the solo content creator, the working class content creator, the bootstrap budget content creator. AI solves the biggest ills that they have to overcome competing in a market with rich content creators who are established. So it's the ultimate disruption. That's the main reason. If I'm being honest with you, the biggest content creators will tell you it's about soul, craftsmanship, and humanity. It's about not having to compete. It's really about not having to compete. This will probably be the last question, and then we have to wrap up. Do you so Imperial Man podcast asks, do you have any general tips, ideas on using AI to increase monetization possibilities? With the beginning of the year, YouTube changes, bringing in a third of what it was despite growth. If you have a product centric channel and you do product reviews, and then you get to 500 subscribers for the monetization for that, and you use YouTube Shorts and you use Opus Clip, you could use YouTube's tagging and auto tagging on shorts for products, and then drastically out earn ad revenue by earning affiliate revenue commissions in high margin categories. So that'd be electronics and hardware. If you're a guy, it's hardware and electronics. So I would make product centric YouTube content on that kind of stuff and make short product reviews and unboxing videos. And then I'd make a bunch of YouTube shorts around that stuff. And then I'd link to tags there. Instagram's marketplace is also doing a lot of interesting stuff. And now with Instagram, you can have links in post and reels. So then you get the affiliate revenue there. You can already do links in Instagram stories. So I would between that and then TikTok with TikTok shop. And then for categories in tech and unboxings, but also in hard DIY and hardware and stuff like that, in those categories, they're doing a specialty payout program for creators. So the RPMs are much higher there. So between TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts, I would probably do those types of content, and I would make bank even as a small creator, as long as the volume is there. The volume that I would look for on tech ticks, tech hacks, unboxings, hardware hacks, and things of that nature, DIY, I would actually optimize completely and not be an artist about it. I would optimize around getting 3 to 5 of those out a day. Then you have in a month, you've got out a crazy amount of things that all sell product. And again, don't worry about CPMs. It's about the fact that everybody who buys this product centric content and clicks on the affiliate link, you get a commission. You will out earn your RPMs by a significant margin on sales instead of ad revenue for affiliate commissions. So that would be the monetization play that I would say is overpowered when it comes to short form content opportunities right now. This also positions you, even as a smaller content creator, for UGC to do stuff for brand platforms and then to make money that way. And even if you wanted to kind of do this faceless, you could be a voice and hand model and get away with it that way. But I would say that it's better to be a face for this stuff. But yeah, someone can also do that in the beauty category as well, and it would work. So yeah, I would do product centric content, because shopping commerce and online commerce is the future, and it's real, and the money is there. And everyone needs to remember, the only reason we get paid as content creators is because of ad revenue. And what is ads? Ads sells products and services. So it's all sales and marketing. So if you just understand that everything you do is sales and marketing, and I hate to say it, but if you're a content creator, the truth is you're probably not making art anyway. There's a handful of people like Tish and some other people. Yeah, your whole desire and your truth is to make art. Your identity is to make art. That's not 99% of you who are on YouTube and social media, but you're influenced by people who told you you should want to make art. I was an artist and am an artist myself. I don't monetize it because it'd be frustrating. It's not that I can't, it's that it'd be frustrating and I'd make compromises. I decided to do everything I'm willing to make money at, so that when I want to go out, like after this, if I want to go out after this and I want to go and shoot wildlife photography and pull out my expensive camera gear, I can go and do that. And it's because I don't try to sell being an artist on the internet. And I go and I do things that I know I can make money at. And then the things I want to do, think about it. I never live stream my video games. You barely would know that I care about video games. Why? Because I want to enjoy playing video games, meaning I don't want to have to worry about an audience or an algorithm affecting what games I play or how I enjoy them or how often I have to do it or make time for it. So no, I don't want to monetize being a gamer. I want to actually be a gamer. I want to enjoy it. I want to be a casual, or when I want to be competitive, I want to do it without being judged for being toxic and competitive and aggressively wanting to win. So I don't put it online. I just do it in real life, and that's that. For art, I don't want strangers who are jealous picking over my art from behind a computer screen and a sock puppet account. So I go out and I make my art, and then I print it on wood or archival prints, and I hang it up in my house. This is not my art. These are the Monopoly guys. This is the Monopoly guy. But like in my house, if someone came to my house, you'd see my art hanging in every room and hallway of the house when you come in. Mostly my wildlife and my landscapes. Okay. So like my paintings, like you'd have to come to the house to see that. That stuff's probably gonna go in the basement once I finish the walls. So it's things like that. I'm not telling people they can't post their hobbies or things that they enjoy or love to the internet and monetize them. I'm making a case and a point for sometimes you're better off not doing that so you can enjoy and protect things that you don't want to trade money for. Sometimes there's a piece in keeping your art for yourself very selfishly. I'm one of those people who's selfish with my art and I keep it for myself. But I'm not selfish with my knowledge. I share that with other people. I'm not selfish with my skill. I share that with other people for money, for money. So I will exchange the value of my skills and knowledge and experience with you, but I'm not willing to give you access to my art for money, and I'm not willing to give you access to my hobbies for money. So it's a separation that gets me to have peace so that I don't have things I value a lot and care a lot about infected by the opinion of strangers on the internet. So hopefully that makes sense. Like the stuff that I post on the internet is the stuff I can live with and a stranger can feel how they want to feel about it. And someone could also buy or not buy it, and I don't have to take it personally. So hopefully that gives you guys some perspective. Yep. By the way, that's it for today. Guys, make sure you're checking out Opus and Agent Opus. Both of those, again, fantastic tools for you. Saves you time, saves you productivity, can save you money. Like I said, AI tools are there to assist you, not necessarily to replace you. But even if they did replace you, consider the value of them replacing you being in front of a screen so that you can be in front of another human. That's not the worst thing that could happen. If we replace our time in front of screens and let other machines work in front of screens for us, we can be in front of other humans we care about. That's probably for the best. That's my contrarian take. But for more of my contrarian takes, you can find me here on weekends on the Opus Clip channel. Again, shout out to our friend Andrew Can. Rest up and recover soon, buddy. We're rooting for you. And again, make sure you're checking out Opus Clip and everything that we have coming out down the pipeline with Agent Opus. And then, of course, if you want to find me, you can find me at Roberto Blake in every social media platform. You can find me on youtube.com/@RobertoBlake, where I'm helping you become a full-time content creator. Stay awesome, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.